Hello, Mr. Lassard. While working on this grade argument, I realized that a slideshow presentation to you would probably not be the best thing I could do for myself. So instead of that, as you can tell from the other videos I've been making, my mental state has been seriously declining, and now I'm talking to myself. I mean, I'm probably not even talking to a camera right now. That'd be a funny thing. But I realized, why make a presentation to you when I can just do something else? It got me thinking. So, if I'm not good at presentations, why don't I just film a video for you? But that would be boring. So, instead of me talking to you, I'm going to be interviewing me.
Let's get this interview started, shall we? First of all, what grade are you arguing for? Thank you so much for having me. That is a very good question. I'm going to be arguing for an A minus. I mean, how are you going to show that you were able to achieve standards worth of an A minus? Well, I will show you evidence of my participation and my growth over the school year to show you how well I deserve this A minus. Honestly, you were gone for a pretty long time. Like, according to my sources, that's quite a many amount of absences. Holy shit, I can't speak. That's a good question. So my attendance, it might look like a lot, but honestly, most of those absences were because of sickness. Like, a lot of them were because of sickness. And if you see, a lot of those absences are marked as, what's it called, excused absences. The spring months really just hit hard. Like, I'm like extreme allergic to pollen and stuff like that, so like I can't really go to school without taking allergy medicine. It's pretty bad, honestly. All right, next question. Your work completion. You were absent for a pretty good amount of times. Like, I don't see how you would complete it. You stupid. About my work completion, it might look like I missed a lot of assignments, but it was because I was sick. Like, you can't really do anything about that. But for some of the assignments, I would go to great effort to make them up. Like the synthesis project, for example, I made a 20-minute video for that. It was like I think it was pretty well edited. I learned how to face track, and I got water poured on myself. Like, it was a fun video to make, honestly. And for the argumentative time, right, I didn't make that up in time, and that's a pretty big problem. But I did do the argumentative essay for on College Board that Mr. Lassard opened up. I set a timer for 40 minutes to do it, so I think it was a pretty good substitute, honestly. Yeah. So your participation, it seems like you haven't really participated in discussions and stuff. Like, well, participation is a funny thing. So yes, I don't really participate in discussions like that because honestly, I'm just not really good at talking to people, you get me? But not even though I don't participate in group discussions and stuff like that, when it comes to like the small groups, my table groups, I always participate. I always make sure to say something, and I make sure to participate in the group projects. I mean, like the synthesis project I was heavily involved in, and that one project we did, like I guess it was like a walk around. Like, we were like walking around. Each group had like their own little rhetorically strong presentation to give, and I was able to help out with that, with writing the script and stuff like that, and coming up with ideas. But I didn't really talk. It was both my group mates that talked. For the synthesis project, I did do, or no, I did a good amount of work for that. The I helped suggest the idea for cup pong. I helped Ryan make the questions, but he did most of those. But I wrote the rules and what we needed. I even bought the cups and the ping pong balls. Those were like, that was like $13. It was kind of crazy. Considering your absences, how's that affect your participation in any way? Honestly, I don't think my attendance track record has really affected my participation that much. Like, for the synthesis project, for example, even though I got sick when we were supposed to present, I still helped with like the week beforehand. I still helped with the group. I was there every day working with them. And when I did get sick and I was out for a week with COVID, the week after I turned in the makeup video, and me and my friends had a pretty fun time making that, and I think it was pretty good too. So now let's talk about your growth. Have you improved in any way on, say, your goals? Growth is a pretty interesting thing. Like I, I don't really know how to answer that question, but I think it's best to go through by unit and look at the goals I set for myself. Okay, let's take your unit one goals for example. It says your unit one goals was reading goal number one. Understand the components of a text rhetorical situation, and reading goal concept number two, which was understanding the nuanced relationships and influence of rhetorical situation components upon each other. So, how have you improved on those? For the first unit, I created soapstones for all the readings, and I think they turned out pretty good. And what I learned from those was purpose really affects audience, speaker's persona, and tone. Like depending on what the speaker is using, like what his purpose is, then it will determine what tone he uses. Like if it's a serious tone, if it's a more laid back tone, the audience really determines how the speaker takes on his persona and the tone. Okay, so writing concept number three for unit three. Clearly connect and build upon evidence from the text, different perspectives, and genres. How would you describe yourself as improving on that? So for unit number three, evidence honestly I can show about it was the synthesis project. Near the end of the video, me and Minsang have a conversation talking about the claims of all three, what the claims are of all three readings that we were given, and how we saw those claims within one of the readings from Unit 2, which was the Twain reading. We talked about how language can be used to both manipulate and be used for good. We ended up with the conclusion that it really just depends on the context and the purpose slash intentions the person is using it in. So, I mean, me and him both understood that how those different perspectives are intertwined with and showed up in like other things we've seen before, like the Twain reading. Is there any other considerations we should look at, like any other things with the growth? Another place I grew was in the rhetorical analysis timed rights. My timed right score actually improved from first semester and second semester, but even though it wasn't that big of a jump, it's still improvement, honestly. You know what they say, like slow motion is better than no motion. You get me? Like, thank you so much for the interview. Like, I really thought it was a good thing we could do. And honestly, I think you just need to wake up. You know, stop doing this. Go to your room.
Wait, what?
Get out of here. What are you doing?